awesome. Yeah, a lot of action. It's nice to see that Jessica Alba, she fights, she does some of her stunts, and it's good to see a female role like that, where she also, can kick ass. Can you say kick ass?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Alejandro, I do believe that this is about a skilled special force combo, a commando. Her father sort of dies in terms of that, and she comes back and she learns out that everything's not all right in the community, in the town that she comes back. There's certain parties doing a bit of, let's say, bidding and a bit of doing stuff under the table and unlawfully things. And she's on a justice mission, dare I say.
Exactly. She's on a mission when she's somewhere else in the world, and then she hears the call that her father passed away. So she comes into town, and she basically, it's a little bit of a detective with action. What happened, all that stuff. It's a little bit of a secret, so I can't say much about that.
No problem. And Alejandro, can you tell us a bit about your character, Harry? Where does he fit in? Is he a bad guy? Is he one of the ones that is plotting against Parker? Or is he very much a confident, someone that is willing to lend a hand in this sort of struggle for justice?
No, I can't. Just kidding. No, my character is Harry, and it's a little bit of a secret. You'll have to watch the movie first. But all I can say is that I'm very close to Parker, the character. I'm a very,
Okay.
very close part of her life. So
Okay.
yes, I'm not a bad guy.
Okay. So you're the
Not
side, you're the side of good. That's all we say. You're the side of good. And
Yeah.
Alejandro, in terms of the special effects, in terms of the scenes and the stunts, uh, is this a big time sort of production? I do believe it was shot way back in 2021 in terms of back in New Mexico at the sort of time. So it's been a while, dare I say, since it's come to our cinema screens and movie screens. So I imagine that has added much more hype behind the movie in terms of that sort of waiting period is now over.
That's correct. Everybody was asking me when is it going to air, and I would say it says here on the internet on Netflix, it says that December, and then people from Netflix, they said no, 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 that's not us. It's somebody else that says Netflix, but it's so it kept being postponed, and now we're happy. It's coming June 21st, which is awesome.
And can you tell us, was it the normal audition role in terms of landing this project in New Mexico at the time? Were you based around there in terms of that? In terms of, were they auditions in person or were they taped auditions, or how did this opportunity land at your doorstep?
Yeah, since COVID, we've been doing everything at home, which is self-tape. We do the audition and send it in, and we forget about it. We don't know what's going to happen. And then that's exactly what I did. I recorded with my son. He helps me with the recordings. I didn't even know who was in the movie because I'm a businessman, so I was busy, and I said, I have an audition. Let's do it. I did it quickly, sent it in, and then a couple of weeks later, they told me that I got the part of Harry.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. Most of the movies I've booked lately is you just record it, you forget, you send it in, forget about it, you go on with your life, and you either book it or not.
Is that a nice way? Because is it almost like a pleasant surprise when you hear about it? Oh yeah, that's nice. I was trying to remember back. What was that I did for again? And then you sort of hear about it. Is it a nice way rather than sort of fretting and being in waiting rooms, but there's 10 or 11 actors lined up and you're going in for cues and you're on for 15 minutes and that sort of 15 minutes, those sorts of facial expressions, how whether a person likes you or not like you in the room, you get the sort of vibe going home in the car and you're constantly thinking about it. Is this a
Yeah.
nice way now in terms of somehow to be, or do you like that face-to-face interaction?
I both are fine, but I think I prefer this because you're gonna make mistakes, and a lot of times you get the audition. I think things have changed lately. You get the audition, and you have to record it and send it in tomorrow. So if it's a lot of lines, you have to memorize, even though they say you're not supposed to, you don't have to memorize. You do have to memorize them. You want to give close to performance, you know, of how it's going to look. So you make some mistakes in your dialogue, and then you get to correct it, and then you send in the one where you didn't make as many mistakes, as opposed to being in front of the casting director. And you've heard that famous thing, you know, oh, thank you, that was great. Don't call
Yeah.
us, we'll call you.
Yeah.
So it's very different. I enjoy the video, the self-tape.
And Alejandro, working alongside Jessica Alba, she had stepped away from the business for a number of years, and she had to found her own business company that is going very well for her. She stepped back into this role under director Molia Surya to play sort of a Parker. And that, did you almost see that sense of professionalism from day one? For she turned back and she was really engrossed in the project and everything that she sort of did in terms of that. Did you see that as sort of an affection from her towards what she was doing?
Exactly. You used the correct word, engrossed. She was so focused on what she was doing. I mean, she's done action before, but this was very demanding. She has to do a lot of fighting with knives and guns. So yeah, she was definitely very, very focused on the character. And it's great that she was also directed by Molly Surya, the female director, who was also great. I mean, it's nice to see a lady directing an action film,
Yeah,
you know,
that's so true.
because she had the other elements of the you know, not just the violence and the punching, that she had the emotional connection with the characters.
Mm. And just on the shooting in New Mexico, what time did you shoot this in 2021? Because I imagine New Mexico, in terms of the summer months, would be very hot, sort of sticky, sort of climate. So was it really off season? Was it in the winter season, 2021, where things were a bit more moderate that you sort of shot it?
Yeah, I get a little confused because I was doing another project there, but I think it was like September, maybe
Okay.
like 2021. I think it's
Yeah.
been a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it was great experience, you know,
yeah.
to be there. Yeah.
And when you found out about your sort of fellow cast members in terms of being involved, was you mentioned you didn't know who was attached to the project, but did your agent tell you when you booked the role that who was attached, or was it mainly the first day when you arrived and said and had that sort of pleasant surprise?
No. As soon as I booked it, I knew. Oh, I was like, okay, so Jessica Alba. Oh, okay, so you know Anthony, which is Michael Hall. I love that guy. You know, he's so great. And a lot of the actors that were there, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
It's again, I guess it's because of the life I have with my businesses. I audition and I'm not focusing, oh, am I going to book it? Of course, there are parts that I would love to get, right? But I'm so busy that once I'm done with that audition, I don't think much about it.
Yeah. And Alejandro, before we came on air, you mentioned about an independent project that is might be coming our way soon here in Ireland and the UK. You might enlighten us a bit more in terms of working alongside another Alejandro in terms of he's directing Alejandro Montoya. You might enlighten us a bit about this project and what's it called?
Yeah, this is called The Unexpecteds, directed by Alejandro, like me, Montoya Marin. He's an up-and-coming director, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. He had a couple of very successful, very low-budget films. One called Monday. He was with Robert Rodriguez. You know Robert Rodriguez,
Yeah.
the director. He got a show, and Alejandro was one of the directors in his show. So he did his first film for $7,000 to sort of follow up on what Robert Rodriguez did with El Mariachi, you know, many years ago. So he wrote it and directed. Matt Walsh is in it. You know, Matt was great. We're co-starring. And of course, we have a bunch of really, really good, well-known actors, very professional. So we just had a screening at La Leaf, which is the Latino International Film Festival. And we had 5 amazing reviews. You know, they really loved it. They loved the style, Alejandro's style, and hopefully we're looking for a home for that movie. We're talking to a couple of networks or streamers, but nothing has become solid yet. So we're just talking about it. It's been a week since it premiered.
Okay, so
best
still
way.
very early in the
Very early
infancy,
stages.
in
Yes.
infancy of the movie. So Alejandro De Hoyos, before we let you go, you might enlighten all our audience, all our listeners, why they should on June the 21st tuck up beside their family and their sofa on the couches, turn on Netflix with their Pepsi, their popcorn, the Maltesers in hands, maybe a bit of a glass of sparkling red wine or whatever choice that they might have. Watch a Trigger Warning with Jessica Alba, Mark Webber, Antonio Michael Hall, Tone Bell, and tell me, Alejandro De Hoyos, what's in store for them?
Well, it's an action film, like I said before, and Jessica Alba is beautiful, and you just see her on screen, and she's gorgeous, and it's good to have a Hispanic female representing us in that way. You know, it's a strong representation of Latino female culture right now. Again, action for guys who also just like shooting and knife wielding. It's good. It's very good. And of course, I'm in it, so you know that's something else that.
Oh, always a positive.